Iron Age represents the first major transformation of society in southern Africa, from small groups living off the land to complex, large towns and a dynamic agricultural economy. 4,000 years ago, and for the next several centuries, Bantu-speaking peoples began to gradually migrate southwards from Western and Central Africa. As they moved, they brought new and increasingly sophisticated agricultural methods with them, and by the 5th century BCE, they also had efficient technology for mining, smelting, and working iron. This skill allowed them to create highly effective tools and weapons, and to dominate the hunter-gatherer societies they encountered. This was Africa's Iron Age, that lasted for over 1,000 years. Bantu-speaking people began to arrive in southern Africa around 2,000 years ago. We have some very early evidence of iron smelting and smithing from Tzaneen, near the border between modern South Africa and Zimbabwe, estimated to be 1,800 years old. The 7 Lydenburg terracotta heads found in Mpumalanga date back to South Africa's early Iron Age. The shards of fired earthenware that make up the heads were found, along with ceramic vessels, iron, and copper beads. The heads are thought to have served a ritualistic purpose, and the artistry that went into their creation speaks of an organized, settled society. Changes in climate during the medieval warm period from around 1,200 years ago seem to have stimulated further Bantu expansion, and within the next 5 centuries, Iron Age Bantu farmers had come to dominate the South African landscape. The hunter-gatherers and herders they encountered typically had small communities and a simple egalitarian social order, and relied on free movement and good climate for their survival. The Iron Age farmers, by contrast, were able to build large, resilient, wealthy communities and engage in trade and innovation, and very rapidly either displaced the nomadic peoples or absorbed their resources and lifestyle into their own. By 900 CE, fundamental changes in the economy, politics, and social organization began to take place, apparent in southern African sites like Schroeder near the Limpopo River. Before this, human beings and their impact on the landscape were hardly felt. With the Iron Age, the way was paved for our present large-scale South African society. Powerful kingdoms arose in southern Africa, and the hill fortress and settlement of Mapungubwe on the floodplain of the great Limpopo River was possibly the first. Iron technology may have been the foundation on which this rich society was built, but it now traded in copper, ivory, gold, glass beads and textiles, along with cattle, which has always been and continues to be in modern South Africa, an important commodity for Bantu-speaking peoples. In time, probably due to climate change and other external factors, the center of trade for the region moved away from Mapungubwe to settlements further north, but by then the impact of the Iron Age had made its mark in the south. Only a few small pockets of hunter-gatherers and herders remained south of the Limpopo, and when Europeans began to colonize the region from the late 1600s, the majority of the people they encountered were Bantu-speaking settled farmers. In just a few centuries, iron and the opportunities it brought had completely changed almost every aspect of the way of life in southern Africa.